Hello, 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 and welcome to the second season of What the Quote and the third episode. And I am extremely excited to introduce to you the fabulous Sonal. She really is a connector of people, of humans, as we like to say. And I'm so excited to have her on the show um, just to hear what her favorite quote is and her spin and how she uses it to create kindness. So, the quote that she shared with us for this episode is from Mahatma Ma- Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah,
Say
good
that
job.
again. I know I was practicing. Mahatma Gandhi,
Good
and it
job.
is: be the change you wish to see in the world. Be
Mhm.
the change. Okay, so if you have listened to this episode before, you know that I wrote a theme song, and we're going to listen to it right now.
And with the quote, we create kind humans who speak kindness, show kindness. Be a kind human. Be a kind human.
Yeah, I don't know. I sing that song all the time. I just love it. So, anyway, I want
I'm so grateful you can sing. I can't sing.
Well, thank you, Miss Sono. So I want to first start with um, how we met.
Mm.
And so I want to say it was around, did we meet at Zarvis? Is that were you there or did we meet as a result of that?
We met through a Linda Clemens event.
You were there.
I was there. And after we met at Linda Clemens event, we connected and talked, and you started talking about Zarvos. And I was like, whoa, wait. Well, that totally makes sense that our vibrations kind of collided. Whoosh.
Yes.
We spoke the same language
Yeah.
and we resonated the same heart vibration. And so yeah, that's how we met, was at a Linda Clemens event, and you came to me and said, oh my God, you're amazing. And I went, really? I'm looking going, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And so it just went from there. And we
Yeah.
just became
It's so amazing. Linda Clemens, who is also a fabulous
Mhm.
connector of people.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why it's so important to me to get out of my comfort zone and to do new things, have new experiences, because it really enables me to meet fabulous human beings like yourself.
Mm. I feel the same. You're right, and you're putting that vibration out there, so you're bringing that, you're manifesting that to you. So
Yes.
kudos to you for being you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. So um, I'm going to upload your bio after with the episode, I'll say. But I really would love for you to take some time to tell the listeners about what you do and what you're passionate about.
Okay, so I'm going to actually shift that just a teeny bit and say who I am,
Okay.
because who I am is actually finally at the age of 50 allows me to do what I do.
Awesome.
And
Love.
I say that because a lot of us experience that we do something in a job, in a career, and then we are and feel something else. And the privilege to be able to do what we're passionate about is a huge privilege, right?
Yes.
And so, what I do is I'm a coach, trainer, and speaker. I work with humans, uh, all ages, but predominantly women, right now, to really help them stretch out of their comfort zone. What is it that you're seeking and wanting in your life? And let me help you elevate that.
Yes.
A lot of times we have a really difficult time stepping into our value system and knowing how we're valued. And
Mhm.
I'm going to be honest, I'm one of those. That's why I have a coach,
Yes.
right? And I'm so
Changes the game.
absolutely. And I'm so honest and authentic with my clients and letting them know just because I'm coaching you doesn't mean that I'm not with you. on that journey
Absolutely.
at the same time. But that's the beautiful part of it. So as a speaker, trainer, and coach, I really hone in on emotional intelligence, and I really hone in on the power of stretching out of your comfort zone. And I this past year designed and crafted a workbook to take people through those steps of how do you stretch out of your comfort zone, not just, hey, go do that, it's uncomfortable, but rather, hey, do that and let me give you tips and guidance and resources along the way to teach you how to do that. And so that it empowers people to want to stay on course and not feel like, just like with weight loss, right? I started and then I stopped and then I feel bad, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I do. And I do it for organizations, for companies. I've had the privilege to work with so many amazing leaders in the city, and that's continuing. And so, yeah, it's one-on-one coaching, group coaching, workshops that I've designed and created, trainings, my workbooks. And I also crafted and designed some decks of cards on kindness.
Look at that.
So
Okay,
I
so
pass that out.
yes, so for our viewers on YouTube,
Yeah,
can you hold up a copy of your workbook
sure.
so that they can see it, so that they'll be like, oh my gosh, Stretching for Success workbook. So this is what you need to order. And so tell them, Sona, where they can order your products.
You can go to, let's see, I'm still getting used to this.
Yes. Yes.
You can go to backwards, look at that, sonalshethzawahri.com, or
Awesome.
you can go to haveyoustretchedtoday.com. And so they're both, see, look, I'm
It's
sorry.
all good. It's all good.
They'll take you to the same place. And if you go to my shop page, you can order the workbook, you can order the decks of cards. I had another book published last year on mentoring moments, where myself and 13 other phenomenal women around the country mentor other people, other women, and guide them on how do you step into your power, and how do you get all that yumminess out of your life, and know that we've all been there and we're still doing it together.
Yes. And here's the great thing about your workbook, Sonal, is that we are at the beginning of 2020,
Mhm.
which looks a lot different.
2021.
2021, yes, we're at the beginning of 2021. Thank you. 2021. And for a lot of people, they are in a different place than what they thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Stretching
Mm-hmm.
may just be what they're searching for to get them from where they are to where they desire to be.
And you're exactly right with that. And that is very much about setting intentions. But I want to say that there's a lot of times that each one of you out there have what it takes. But if you're anything like me and most humans, is you need to step out of your box for a minute and get a bird's eye view,
Yeah.
right? And then take a look at it from beginning to end, and not say, I want to accomplish A, B, and C, or X, Y, and Z. Like, I want to lose 50 pounds. And then boom, that overwhelms you.
Yes.
Rather, you take a step back, and the workbook helps you to identify not just what my end goal is, but what's my next first immediate step. Then
Yes.
after that, the step after that, so that I can actually achieve success.
Yes.
All of us end up giving up if we look at the big picture all the time way too much. Does that make
Absolutely. Yes. I love it. I love it. So, if you're listening, go to Stretch. Uh, what is it? Stretch?
It's haveyoustretched.com,
Have you stretched.com?
or my full name, sonalshethzawahri.com. They're both part
Awesome.
of my brand. So
Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, Sonal, I'm so excited about the quote from Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Mhm.
So before we talk about the quote, we're
Mhm.
going to dance. We're going to dance. 30 seconds, because it gets your heart rate going, it reduces stress. Okay, here we go. Come on, everybody. awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so
Oh,
Sonal, I am excited to hear about why you submitted the quote you did. Be the change you wish to see in this world.
oh, Tawana, I have loved that quote as long as I can remember. So much so that the art in my house, designed by the artist Bethany,
Mhm.
is "Be the Change" on these huge palettes and everywhere else. And here's why: because it starts with each one of us.
Yes.
Right, it starts with accountability. It starts with I love Michael Jackson, so when he says, see, the man in the mirror,
Yes.
one of us, we can't create change out there in the world unless we step into it ourselves. And my mom said, since I can remember, since we immigrated here on the streets of Brooklyn, she used to always say, Sonia, we cannot change other people, just change yourself.
Yes.
And I hear that all the time because wherever I go in life, whether it's job related, when I was dating, oh, I don't like that person because, or I don't want to date that person. There was always these things that come up, Tawana. But the magic is when you take a step back and you say, look, if I have a circumstance that I feel I can't control, then it's about me. Because if I'm
Yes.
attracting that, that means there is something within me vibrationally
Yes.
that's happening to attract that. So if I'm having this isn't true for me, but if I'm having bad relationship after bad relationship, then I get to ask myself, why am I attracting these kind of humans? Ooh, what is it that I'm doing? How am I showing up for myself? Right?
Yes.
If it's in a job, if it's in building connections around the city, whatever it is, be the change to me says in volumes. If I want to see the world around me change, I get to look inside and be accountable and responsible for me and how I show up. And then, therefore, the outcome of that is that I will start attracting and creating and manifesting. See,
Yes.
those things happen regardless.
Yes. And here's why I love what you're saying. It's because when we don't allow ourselves to do that,
Mm-hmm.
we end up blaming
Uh,
we end up blaming other people.
Victim.
And yes, we become a victim, and that does not put us in a seat of empowerment.
Exactly right.
And so, even when you talk about the relationships that you keep being connected to,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to look at the behavior of those other people and think, well, they did this, they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really easy
Mm-hmm.
to look at the behavior of other people.
Absolutely.
But just what you said about Michael Jackson and looking at the man in the mirror, it becomes the path of enlightenment, of growth, of transformation, to really think about what is it about me that I said yes to that?
Mm-hmm.
I said yes to that relationship, yes to that job that doesn't serve me. Like, what is it? And really taking a moment to take some inventory.
Absolutely, Tawana. And as you're saying all this, it's such a beautiful journey because some of the things that have shown up for me in my gifts and strength that I knew I enjoyed and I liked, but didn't realize it was who I was when you asked earlier about defining. And when I mentioned emotional intelligence, I failed to mention authenticity. One of
Yes.
the biggest things for me, the way I've always been, I think any human you ever meet, even in a professional setting, will tell you, Sonal she is what she is. I am this way in front of you at work, and this is who I am away from work because I operate from the core of me. Now,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean it's always perfect. I'm not saying that.
Of
But I
course.
always operate from a space of authenticity and emotional intelligence and radical candor. But see, here's the thing, Tawana. Radical candor and emotional intelligence are concepts that are now been out in the world in the last decade or two. But growing up, we've always used those. We just didn't know to call them that,
Yeah.
right? So what does that mean about be the change? When you are honest and authentic and vulnerable and you show up in the world, other people get permission to do the same.
Yes. And so what here, yes, hearing you say that. So I am at the place where in the past I thought that vulnerability, authenticity were two separate things. You know what I'm saying? And they
Mhm.
are separate, but there is this um, transformation that happens
Mhm.
when you use authenticity, vulnerability, when you use all of those things, because you can be honest, but it might come off as mean,
Exactly.
or you know what I'm saying, a know-it-all.
Mhm.
And so when you put in being honest and vulnerable, that's the game changer.
I agree. And I also agree that the key is, and that's why people like us are available to support others, not because I have it all figured out,
Absolutely.
but because I'm on the journey and that's my language. That's my lane of, I discovered that that's my gift is, and that's uncomfortable for me to say because of imposter syndrome, but that's my gift.
Yes.
My gift, right? And what that looks like is, when I was reading more about radical candor in a terminology sense,
Mhm.
there is about care deeply, and so the key in my mind and heart to authenticity, to vulnerability, to emotional intelligence, to being the change, all of that is the power of effective communication.
Yes.
And so when we effectively communicate, and that can come with practice and learnings and teachings, when we learn how to deliver our vulnerability, how to deliver it, not with the lack of truth, but with the addition of how we position it,
Yes.
how we craft it. So instead of saying, I'm not, I don't appreciate that you're always judging me and it makes me feel bad. Like, let's say I'm feeling that way around someone, or that you're always bullying me.
Mhm.
I could say that with, I want you to understand that I don't really appreciate that. I'm sure if you take a step back, you can probably remember a time where if you were on the receiving end of that, that didn't feel great.
Absolutely.
Or I could do, I don't like when you pick on me. You know it's horrible. You're just a horrible person. Why do you have to pick on me? See, I told you I'm being honest, right?
Yes.
So it's in the delivery, and it's in the concept of effective and powerful communication. So that's why when I work with people, all the workshops I do, I weave all those together, because it's not just this or just that. It's the how part.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And here's the other thing that I am learning is first, Ian Levinson always tells us that we teach what we learn,
Mm, mm,
you know? And
I
so
love it.
there's a reason why I am on the journey that I am on learning,
Mhm,
because my community of kind humans, that's where we connect.
mhm.
And
Absolutely.
so what I am learning is that authenticity plays a huge part in me being vulnerable,
Mhm,
because I have to listen to what I'm feeling inside to decide to make the choice if this is a person that I can be vulnerable with,
mhm.
because it's not about being vulnerable with everybody,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know, because some people, they have not earned that right.
And they don't know how to receive it. They
Exactly.
haven't learned the skill set on, if they're not intuitive with their own self, if they're
Yes.
not in a space of acceptance and they're not in a journey of learning themselves, they're not going to be ready to receive that. And that's part of the self-awareness, part of the emotional intelligence, because that's self-awareness and social awareness. And the social awareness aspect is know your audience,
Hmm.
gauge your audience, understand that if there's someone who doesn't speak your language and you're talking to them and they're giving you this glazed look, like, then be okay with what information you share and then move on
Yes.
and accept that and be okay with that. But
Yeah.
that's a social awareness piece of identifying how you build that relationship or don't. And even better, it's so awesome because I'm a human collector. that you can collect people and say, hey, you are going to be part of my core. Then there's a layer after that, there's a layer, and you get to be an acquaintance. You don't have to give them those titles, but in your mind,
Absolutely.
in your space, you get to identify where they sit. So you're still that kind human to all, but
Yes.
it's not at the same depth and level with.
Yes. I love that you call yourself a human collector. I mean, that is so, it is so, because I am saying yes. Yes.
I've been saying people collector and connector for about 15 years now. In the beginning, I used to get, that's creepy. Like, what do
Yes.
you mean? Dead bodies? And I'm like, no.
Yes.
And now that the world has shifted and changed so much, and they're receiving and accepting this whole emotional intelligence and soft skills and all this, now people are staying everywhere. Oh, I collect humans too. And I'm like,
Yes.
wait, I used to say that and people
Yes.
laugh at me. But yeah, it's always been who I've been to the
Yes.
core, and not everyone can be a people human collector. You don't need to be, right?
Yes.
We don't all want to collect because there's too many of us.
Yes.
But just be you and be
Yes.
the change that you want to see. So whatever you want to craft and create and manifest in the world, and you're really being intentional about it, make sure you're showing up that way first.
Yes.
And then that's what you're going to attract. That's why I love that quote so much.
Yes.
It's so
And
simple
even,
and powerful.
yes, and just hearing you say that, make sure that that is how you show up first. I know in my own experience, I am realizing that that keeps me quiet
Mm-hmm.
and really in a place of transformation, because I don't have expectations of people that
Yeah.
I am not showing up as.
Yeah, that's key.
And so it's easy. In the past, it has been easy for me to be like, well, they're not doing this, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, oh, wait a minute, wait, that's me stopping.
That's your breaks, huh?
That's my breaks. It's like, okay, I kind of call that, you know, stay in it. Are you in your own lane, Tawana?
Yeah,
Are you
exactly.
minding your own business?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And me minding my own business keeps me very busy, because I want to show up as someone who is doing the work and has done my own work,
Absolutely.
and looking at myself and realizing, even seeing you the first time, I was like,
I didn't know that.
because and just being very intentional on having a certain group of ladies in my life,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Oh.
because that's what I want to change.
And you're doing it, and you're so powerful, and I'm so proud of you for everything you're doing. Right now, I'm looking at, wow, from the business you had to what you're crafting to what the quote. I mean, I'm looking at your background. I'm working with someone else on trying to build a podcast myself, and
Mhm.
I keep putting it off and putting it off. And I'm watching what you're doing and thinking, she's got this down. I'm so proud of you. And I also know what the real story is in there, right? Like, I'm just figuring it out, Sonal, as I go along. And so that to me is the beauty, because I want to make this very clear to whoever's listening and watching. And I'm actually saying it out loud for myself, honestly,
Yes,
is it's so easy to get caught up in comparison. It's so
absolutely.
easy to open up Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever it is that we do, or emails or Clubhouse or whatever,
Absolutely. Yes.
and say, oh gosh, that person has it all together. Maybe I'm not enough.
Hmm.
Maybe I need to do better. Maybe I need to do more. I
Yes.
do it all the time. But because I have my main, um, group of humans, my personal board of directors, as
Yes.
I say, I reach out to them and saying, hey, get me out of my head.
Yes.
Hey, and they have to remind me of, Sonal, you're making an impact. And just so you know, this person's doing this and this person's doing that. So now I've learned, even with my clients and with friends and with everyone, when they're like, so you've got all your stuff together. I'm like, thank you.
And that's exactly how it's like, thanks.
Thanks. And here's what's really happening. And some
Yeah.
people around me is like, don't tell them everything. I'm like, why not?
Yes.
Because here's the reality. By sharing my journey, I hopefully will empower others to say, wait, I could do it too. If she's feeling that lost and disconnected and still making it happen, that means it's possible for me.
Yes.
Being powerful is not unachievable. And so
Wait a minute. Say that again for the people in the back of the room. Say it again.
being powerful is not unachievable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I love letting people know that I am working hard at it just as you can. And all those people, I can promise you that we see some of my favorites that I follow, the Brene Browns, the Brendan Burchards, the Marie Forleos, whatever. All of them, I can promise you, are in the background going, and trying to figure it out. And so my talk for Roches, this next one is just figure it out.
Yes.
And show up.
Yes.
And share your show up.
Yes.
And then when you do that, you inspire others to show up.
Yes. Because showing up is the gift.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gift. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. I interviewed Kaya Thompson in the last episode. And before we started recording, I told her, I'm like, I should take a picture of what this looks like from, you know what I'm saying, in the background.
I did.
Because, I mean, it's like this, it's just, it's really to be authentic and to share. This is what you see. But this is what you don't see. It kind of reminds me of some of the news anchors or sportscasters who, from waist up, they are dressed one way. But if you were to look at them from waist down, they might have on sweats, tennis shoes, barefoot, whatever that looks like, And so it's, I just think that that's one of the beautiful things about showing up authentically. And really, that's one of the things that really got me to start the podcast.
That's
because it was in my head for a year before I even did it, because I wanted it to be perfect and this blah, blah, blah. But nobody cares about that.
So now that you shared that with me, I'm going to tell you that the podcast that I want to create is called #Caught-You-Stretching.
Love that.
I want to interview people in the act of stretching and them sharing their experience with it. And I've been thinking about this forever. And then I'm just like, oh, but I need this. And I don't have the right background. And I don't have a basement. I don't have and those are the things that go through. And you sharing this story, and my friend Akila Darden, who interviewed me on a podcast, she's like, Sonal, stop. It's just as simple as. Yes. And so it's only, I love that you shared that, because that means it's possible. It's achievable.
And, a big step for me last year in the first season. I'm so excited about that. In the first season was, me just kind of showing up where I was. Yeah. Sometimes the audio was not what it needed to be. Sometimes the video was not what it needed to be. Sometimes I had on makeup and lipstick. Sometimes I didn't have on makeup. All of that was just me really crafting who I wanted to be in the world. That I don't want to be the perfect. But, in the past I did. I wanted everything to be perfect. Mm-hmm. But what is that? And that's exhausting.
Exactly right. And who in this world, I feel like the entire world is making that shift.
Yes.
We are finally in the revolution, the age, right, where people are accepting each other for who they are. COVID's horrible. I'm not gonna like try to hug on COVID.
Yes. Okay. We're not gonna hug on COVID.
I'll tell you what COVID has done, because I always want to see the best in everything, is it has brought out in people the people who are comfortable with technology were already there. The
Yes.
people who are uncomfortable with it, it's allowed people, I said this at a meeting last night, to build connection.
Yes.
Really connect at a level deeper than ever before, to spend time with your family members in ways that you
Yes.
get to before,
Yes.
to be home with your kids and be stressed out
Yes.
because of virtual learning,
Yes.
and you learn more about your kid.
Absolutely.
I mean, so there are so many beautiful things that are coming out of it, but the biggest one for me is the power of connection
Absolutely.
and the forgiveness of, to a lot, I mean, a lot of forgiveness
Yes.
and a lot of acceptance. And so I think we're heading in a really great direction. I think
Mhm.
there's always a way to go along this journey and keep collecting data, but then to say, how is that serving me?
Yes.
Purpose.
Yes. I love
So
it. Okay, so Sonal,
yes,
for the podcast listeners, you can't see me putting my hat on,
that
but
is that.
but this means that we are about to step into the coaching corner.
Oh,
And usually at this time in the episode, right before I sign off, I give the listeners um, just maybe one or two nuggets of things that they can do to be the change that they want to see in the world. So, Sono, since you are a coach extraordinaire, you can't see me, but I wish I could put this hat on your head. Um,
I have
I,
my scrunchie.
yeah, oh my goodness, look at that. I love that. Yes. So, since you have your scrunchy hat, can you give the listeners something that they can do to be the change that they want to see in the world?
Absolutely. I think that the most important thing is step out of your comfort zone.
Mm,
Personally, it could be professionally. If something's not working for you and it's not serving you, it's your choice to stay there. Do not be a victim of your own choices. And what that looks like in stretching, that's one of the things I define in my workbook is, how do you do that? Stepping out of your comfort zone starts with self-awareness. Oops, there goes my hat.
it's all good. It's all good.
Starts with self-awareness. And then the T is setting the tone or attitude. How are you going to choose to approach this stretch? I can't believe I got to stretch. Or, yes, I get to stretch.
Yes, yes.
And reflect on what's needed. What do you need? What resources do you need? What people do you need? Do you need finances? Do you need to take a course? I mean, whatever stretch you're doing, what do you need? If you're doing a weight loss plan, what do I need to do to take out of my house so that I can do it correctly? You know, whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
And then E is for engage in new ideas. Be open-minded. Listen to others, right? I love surrounding myself around people who think different things, who even have opposite political views,
Yes,
because then I can learn and listen and pay attention. Be an active listener,
yes,
right? And then T is for take action. Hey guys, self-awareness is great, but it's not going to serve you if you know, and you don't do what you do.
yes.
Make that first step. And if the first step is just merely calling someone and saying, hey, I'm going to do this, then that gets to be a good step because it's accountability. And then don't try to figure out the step after that. Just do the one, and the next one will come, and the next one will come.
Yes.
And then C is for change management, which is pay attention, collect the data. Is it working? Isn't it working? Am I failing? Awesome. What did I learn from my failure? How do I do things differently? And then finally, H is harness the power. Celebrate
Mm,
your small wins. I forget to do that all the time.
yeah,
Oh, great. I got this gig. Awesome. Oh, but I got to do this. And I get caught up in the busyness.
yes.
Turn around, press pause, celebrate every small win towards your journey. And
Yeah.
what I do, I'm going to give this tip out there. It's my favorite thing to do. I have
Yeah.
audio memos on my phone. I get on for 30 seconds and say, hey, Sonal, it's this date, this time. I'm going to share that I got this gig or this thing. And I don't like to say it on social media because I feel like I don't want to feel like I'm tooting my own horn. So here's what I did. And then I shut it down. And then on the days where I feel like I have no value and I'm not enough, because we all go through that conversation, I turn that on and I make
Ah,
myself do it.
I love that,
So I
Sonia.
now have collected, I have about 185 of those from myself, but I've also had, like, my girlfriend called me and said, you know what you're really good at? And I said, wait, pause. Could you do an audio memo and send that to me? Because I won't retain that. See, here's what
Yes.
humans, Tawana. We retain the bad stuff.
Yes.
Remember what we're not good at and what people
Yes.
tell us that's wrong with us. We don't remember the good stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, pause. I don't want to lose that valuable piece of information that I'm going to be like, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to forget in about 10 minutes. And she did send it to me and I saved it on my phone. So whenever I'm in that space, whenever you're in that space, pick that up. Whether it's writing it in your journal, doing it on an audio member, are you a visual learner, auditory learner? What works for you? Do what works for you.
Yes. Yes.
And come back to those moments.
I love it. I love it.
Because when you celebrate your small wins, guess what? You empower others to show up. And when you start valuing others, you show up.
Yes. Listen, this is why you need to get out of your comfort zone, because you get to meet fabulous, amazing humans like Sonal. Sonal, thank you so much for just being you, sharing a little bit of time with my listeners. Tell us once again how we can stay connected with you.
I would love it if you have any questions, if you want to chat, you can reach me on my website at sonalshethzawahri.com. You can see my name up there, so I won't take the time to spell that, or haveyoustretchedtoday.com. And also, I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Look me up at Sonal Sheth Zawahri. I try to do Facebook. I am on Facebook, so you can find me under True You, TRU. Second word is YOU, but I spend a lot of my time on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And please reach out to me. I'm here to support you. I love people and I love supporting you through your journeys.
Awesome.
And I just want to thank you for showing up and stretching me, because I'm not wearing makeup or lipstick or anything. And
you look gorgeous.
And you're like, no, we're just going to do it. So thank you
Yes.
for being my confidant and for supporting me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sonal. And I wrote a theme song.
Another one, yay.
Here we go.
And with the quote, we create kind humans who speak kindness, show kindness, be a kind human. Be a kind human.